was just dying to film another video. Today's video is also going to be bookish related. I hope that y'all don't mind. That has just been my interest this year. So yeah, so I'm just gonna be reading some quotes from books that I've read this year. You know, anything that I've tapped on, a few physical books, and also I have my Kindle as well. So I have my Kindle here, and I am gonna go ahead and redraw some things that I have also, you know, highlighted on that as well. If you're interested in this type of videos, keep watching, and also let me know in the comments down below if you like bookish type videos. But yeah, other than that, I do have a little drink today. I have my little, it's already fading. This bottle is not all that fancy. I literally got it from like Family Dollar for $5. But I have my little rainbow, what is this, like a tumbler? Rainbow tumbler, and I got it in June because obviously Pride Month, which by the way, I was so sad that I didn't get around to filming on Pride Month, but you know, we celebrate the gays all year, so yeah, just gonna be drinking some water. What we should get into is the books, and I am gonna start with the physical ones. I have some general fiction. Well, I have general fiction, I have romance, mostly romance. I also have fantasy / romantasy. But yeah, I honestly, like, I think most people do this, but I just tap my books and then don't go back to it. So I'm excited to see like what I have tapped, and I'll pick out, you know, my favorite things that I've tapped, so I'll kind of sift through them. But yeah, I hope that you enjoy. So I'm gonna get started with a book that made me literally sob. And this is 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled, Hosseini. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go through these tabs. This is how much I tapped, by the way, this book, and I'm a sucker for like sad shit. I'm sorry, like the things that hit me hardest are sad. I'm actually gonna start with like a sad quote that has stuck with me with this book, and I cried so much. This is the one that I cried so much with, so I'll find that one first. Here it is. Oh no. Okay. Oh my god, I'm gonna read the whole paragraph. It is just so sad. I already want to cry. So it says, Miriam Jo wished for so much in those final moments, yet as she closed her eyes, it was not regret any longer, but a sensation of abundant peace that washed over her. She thought of her entry into this world, the Harami child of a lowly villager, an unintended thing, a pitiable, regrettable accident, a weed, and yet she was leaving the world as a woman who had loved and been loved back. She was leaving it as a friend, a companion, a guardian, a mother, a person of consequence at last. No, it was not so bad, Miriam thought, that she should die this way. Not so bad. This was a legitimate end to a life of illegitimate beginnings. This is right before Miriam dies. This is as she's walking to her death. I should have read this first, but though there had been moments of beauty in it, Miriam knew that life for the most part had been unkind to her. But as she walked the final 20 paces, she could not help but wish for more of it. In a few years, this little girl will be a woman who will make small demands on life. this is where I knew this was gonna be a good book. So it says, there was more silence, only I heard soft sounds, like maybe they were kissing. I had seen them kissing before, when my mama didn't know I was spying like I was doing now. I knew it was wrong. Mamas weren't supposed to kiss men who weren't their husbands. But I also knew daddies weren't supposed to come home drunk all the time and slap their wives in the face. And mamas weren't supposed to look at uncles with a soft look my mama always got on her face when Uncle Connor came around. It was all mixed up and confused, and I wasn't sure how to sort it all. That's why I spied on them. I was trying to understand. Please, this kid is like 6 years old. As I stood there remembering, thinking about the girl I was, I missed her. I missed my old self. I hadn't been a girl unmarked by tragedy. I wasn't naive to the ways of the world. I thought about how Brie and I were so different, and yet so similar. She carried the guilt of not fighting when she thought she should have, and I carried the scar of what happened when you did. We had reacted differently in a moment of terror, and yet we both still hurt. Maybe there was no right or wrong, no black or white, only 1,000 shades of gray when it came to pain and what we held ourselves responsible for. This one is one sentence. We communicated 1,000 words without a single one being spoken. I love you so much it hurts. And truly he looked pained. I brought one hand to his cheek and he closed his eyes for a beat before I brought my hand away. It doesn't need to hurt. He breathed out. It does though. It does because I'm afraid to love you. I'm afraid that you'll leave and I'll go back to being alone again. Only it will be 100 times worse because I'll know what I'm missing. I want to be able to love you more than I fear losing you, and I don't know how. Teach me, Brie. Please teach me. Don't let me destroy this. What made you decide it was time to come home? I considered her question. I was sitting in this small coffee shop a couple of days ago, and I saw this old man sitting at a table across from me. He looked so lonely, so sad. I was too, but it suddenly occurred to me that some people go through their whole lives never being loved or loving as deeply as I love you. There's always going to be a chance that I could lose you in this lifetime. There's nothing any of us can do about the possibility of loss. But in that moment, I decided I was more interested in focusing on the great privilege I've been given in having you at all. Literally, shut the fuck up. Read that one, please. Do yourself a favor. Okay, now I'm gonna read a few quotes from my current read, which is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And this, I already know it's gonna be a 5-star read. It's fucking amazing. He spent so many years taking pieces of me. I said quietly, I'm trying to put myself back together, and now I have to do it without you, and with him always there. I feel like I have to remind you that I'm really not looking to date right now. You didn't have to make such a big deal about me coming, bitch. I stopped what I was doing. Okay, we need to clear something up, I said, looking her in the eye. When you come down, no matter what you come down for, I'm going to make a big deal over it, because it is a big deal. You're driving 4 hours round trip to be here. That's not nothing, and if you're staying the night, this isn't going to be a quickie situation. I'd like to say that I could spend all 12 hours of your stay pleasuring you. I can't. We're going to do other things, I said, going on. We're going to eat and we're going to hang out. And I'm going to put effort into that because you're putting effort into being here. And it's going to be like that every time. Somebody get me a fucking cowboy. Right now. Right now. He was always in these bad moods. was going to get. One day he's cooking me a nice dinner, my favorite bottle of wine, and the next he's mad at me for God knows what because he won't even speak to me. It was like he liked me on eggshells. Like as long as I was running after him, begging him to tell me what was wrong, what I could do better, he was happy. I could never relax. I started getting depressed. I had anxiety all the time. I was miserable and felt totally trapped, while at the same time feeling grateful that he was with me because who else would want me? Tell me that is not what a motherfucking narcissist does to you. I wasn't the same woman now. I used to be so worn down from his mood swings and so desperate for any bit of kindness from him that I'd just give in. I just let it go, let him get away with it. I'd thank him for the flowers or act excited about the expensive vacation he'd booked instead of actually saying he was sorry. I'd eat the quiche. Fuck the quiche. Fuck the quiche, Alexis. Anyway, I'm on chapter 28, but we almost done with this. Almost there. 5 stars though, for sure. Alright. Moving on to the Kindle. Okay, so I have a few books that I have highlighted quotes from here on the Kindle, and I am going to see how many they are first, actually. Again, I have not gone through these. I haven't gone through these, but we'll figure it out. So, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, question mark, 5, but again, I'm just picking the favorites. Okay. You know, every night, she says, I lie here by myself and think tomorrow is the day. I'll wake up and feel okay about this. There has to be a tipping point, right? Do you ever feel like you're living a depressing ending, but you never get to the last page? There's no pithy final line. It just keeps going. I feel you, girl. He would completely move on with his life, the way people do when they're in relationships, when friends become people. You squeeze into your schedule because your world revolves around your significant other. The idea of it makes her heart constrict. Thinking of Josh as another person who'll inevitably leave her behind. I think I didn't even mention what book I'm reading this from. This is You Again. The book is You Again. Okay, this quote almost makes me cry because it's about casual dating, and I feel it so hard. But how do you explain to someone that you just want your conversations to spark? That you want to laugh because you can't help it, not force a chuckle out of politeness? That instead of just listening to the anecdotes you've told on 6 other dates, you need them to hear the parts you're not saying? To know you better than anyone else. I could literally cry at that because it's just so fucking true. Like, something I hate about dating is just like having to reintroduce yourself to someone and just going through the fucking motions and the casualness when you had something so fucking deep before that, you know what I mean? Anyways, if you do happen to find your person, it's an act of courage to tell them that, to say please love me back, and to let someone else hold your heart in their hands, knowing it could, actually it probably will, end badly, knowing they're going to fuck up, knowing you'll both hurt each other. But if that's your person, it's worth the risk, because your person will see the best version of you. They'll have a whole list of reasons why they think you're irreplaceable, and they'll tell you. And again, this was You Again by Kate Goldbeck. Okay, next one is going to be, you know what, I'll go with Powerless by Lauren Roberts, because I'm leaving Emily Henry for last because, girl, she made me cry so much. So, this is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And I'm reading the 3rd book in the trilogy, so I'll read quotes from Powerless and Powerful. Oh, this is a one-liner, but she holds herself with a certain confidence that tells me there was when she did not. So I decided to study the sky that night, spotting similarities between us. I was lonely in a way that I imagined the stars to be, observed by everyone, yet too far to truly be seen. Okay, girl. She is the embodiment of a bad decision, the twin of danger and desire, the fine line between deadly and divine, and I can feel myself drowning. She's confusing, captivating, and we're completely wrong for each other in all the right ways. She's a flame and I'm going to get burned, an ocean and I'm going to drown. That girl, that haunted, weak girl begging for help, for love, is me. Without her, I wouldn't be who I am today. I'm still haunted, maybe even still hoping for love, but I am no longer weak because of it. And that's Powerless, girl. We're going with Powerful now, and I honestly don't think there's too many on Powerful. I don't think I rated Powerful too highly, but it was okay. It did what it had to do. So I'll read a few from Powerful, and this is the novella, or the second book in the trilogy that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. She looks over at me and I look over at her. Something like understanding seems to settle between us, as though loneliness has found its equal. Then we have gentleness is the strength that fragility lacks. If darkness is the absence of light, then that is what I am when she is not around. You make even the stars envious, I repeat slowly, leaning toward her, because one day far from now, you will be up there beside them, outshining every single one. But I'm rooted to the spot, knee-deep in mutual feelings. I hadn't dreamed could be this fast, and it terrifies me. I've never been someone's, and I have no idea how to be. I have to read this one because this is, spoiler alert, this is when Atina dies. And Atina is Peyton's best friend from Powerless. Okay. In the end, it was all light and dark, loud and soft. I knew nothing but the memory of those I loved. One a friend, the other unfinished. And that alone is what I took with me into the next life. But I watched, warm and bright and high above, just as he promised. I'm gonna go to Reckless, but I honestly don't think I have too many highlights on Reckless. I'm on page 202, or 52% of the way through. But again, I don't know. It's not like, mind-blowing right now, but I might not even have anything to read from this book. I'll read one, but it's not even that good. Okay. She's unbearable, really, but not in the way that makes it any easier to look away. No, everything about her is a bold sort of beauty, like a rose proudly displaying its thorns. She's alluring in the way that most deadly things are, and it's captivating. Everything is him describing Peyton, which is cute, but like, Reckless isn't it yet for me, guys. It's been kind of boring. Anyways, now I'm gonna read from one of my favorite books that I've read this year, which is Happy Place by Emily Henry. And girl, this is probably gonna be the one that I highlighted the most on. It's not fair that he's fine. It's not fair that being here with me doesn't feel like having his heart roasted on a spit like it does for me. I need to know that he remembers, that he hasn't totally forgotten what it felt like to love me while I'm trapped with him, burned onto my heart, my brain, my lungs, my skin. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm trying to ask what, when. If you're happy, he says, I want to know that you're happy too. Now it's parts of the city I avoid because they remind me of those first few months in California when he still lived with me. That when I wake up too early to my screaming alarm, I still reach toward his side of the bed, like if I can hold on to him for a minute, it won't be so hard to make it through another grueling day at the hospital, and a never-ending series of grueling days. That I still wake from dreams of his head between my thighs, and reach for my phone whenever something particularly ridiculous happens in the cozy mystery I'm reading, only to remember that I can't tell him. That I spend more time trying not to think about him than actually thinking about anything. If you know, you know. You can trust me, Harriet. In that moment, he pierces a little deeper into my heart, opens another door, finds an entire walled-off room I didn't realize was there. And that's so real because, to me, trust is more significant or important than love. Maybe that part of the anger that burned in, maybe that was part of the anger that burned in me too. Disappointment that I hadn't loved him well enough to make him happy, nor well enough to let him go. Is there one that looks like us? He's talking about our pottery. They all do, I think. You are in all of my happiest places. You are where my mind goes when it needs to be soothed. Things change, but we stretch and grow and make room for one another. What if I'm bad at it? I ask, being a parent. He sweeps my hair back from my neck. You won't be. You don't know that, I say. I do, he says. How? I say. Because you're good at loving, he says, and that's all you have to do. I used to make these little bargains with the universe, I say, smiling a little at the ridiculousness of it. Like if I got straight A's, then everything would be okay. Or if I won the science fair a second time. Or if I was never late to school. Or if I always did the dishes before mom got home from work. Or I got her the perfect birthday gift or whatever. And I know my parents love me. I've always known that, I say tightly. But the truth is, one squeezes the back of my neck, telling me, I've got you. I've spent my whole life trying to I've spent my whole life trying to make up. I've spent my whole life trying to make it up to them. God, Jesus. Because he can promise me anything, but in the end, feelings could come and go, and we'll be powerless to stop the change. Just promise, I say, we'll end things before we ever let them get like that. Hurt flashes across his face. I want to take it back, but I don't. This is all I can give him, and all I can give myself. Some tiny measure of protection. The only way I can bear loving anyone this much is knowing it will never turn to poison. Knowing we'll give each other up before we can destroy each other. I don't cry. It's not real. He promised he would always love me. It can't be real. But a deeper part of me, a voice that's always been there, tells me it was always going to end this way. That I've known since the first trip to Indiana that I would never be enough to make him happy. That I couldn't give him the kind of love his parents had when my only education on the subject had been the one my parents had. Too real. Too real. Harriet. It wasn't one moment when everything went wrong, when I failed him, when we lost each other. There were dozens on either side. Missed signs, dropped lines. It fucking hurts to realize it, to understand that I made him think I didn't want him. And you should have known I didn't want anyone else. My voice splinters apart, my hair going with it. I should have known that you were it for me. You should have known that you were it for me from the night we met. I would have done anything to fix it, but you wouldn't fight for me. You said you would, and I believed you would. And I understand why you couldn't, but I haven't forgiven you for breaking my heart. I love you, he says. Don't say that. Why not, he whispers. Because, I say, those words don't belong to me anymore. Of course they do, he says. They belong to you before I ever saw you. and she patted his arm as she recovered. I understood then the immense honor it is to hurt like she does, to have loved someone so much that the taste of maple syrup can make you cry and laugh at the same time. And I know, if nothing else, I'll have that. I know I've chosen the right universe. And that's, y'all, is the last quote I'm gonna read. I hope that y'all enjoyed my reading of some of my favorite quotes from a few books that I've read this year. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. It was nice to film again, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it. My cats got to zoomy, so sorry about that. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for being here. I am so very happy that you are here, and like I always say, I'm so very happy that you're here, not just here watching this video, but here alive, living another day, hearing my cats go crazy. I appreciate you so much. I love you so much. I hope you're having a lovely mid-year. It's almost August, but I hope you've had a lovely year so far, and that you're doing amazing. I will see you in my next video, which will hopefully be very soon.